I'm Amira, a structural engineer based in London, and I'm chartered with both the Institution of Civil Engineers and Structural Engineers, as well as being a reviewer for the ICE. So I see a lot of applications and I conduct a lot of reviews. I get a lot of questions from engineers at all stages of their career who are going towards professional accreditation. So this series is really going to be about consolidating what I've learned going through the process and as a reviewer, so I hope it's helpful. You should be someone who is consistently contributing their own ideas to a task to improve it, and also have an open mind to innovation and be consistently considering how you can make a task safer for the people who are working on it. So when a chartered or incorporated engineer receives a package of work, they will be responsible for reporting on resources internally, financial reporting, attending external meetings, so they should be able to explain the engineering work to technical and non-technical people, and investing in the training of their teams. Each of these concepts are split into what the ICE calls attributes. There are 7 of them, and they have individual descriptors which you can find on the ICE website. In this series, we'll break down each attribute into a short video explaining how you can demonstrate them. If you want to sit your chartership exam but feel like any or all of an attribute is missing, you should speak to your delegate engineer or your SCE if you have an in-house ICE training program, or your mentor if you don't have an in-house training program, about how to incorporate these aspects as part of your work to demonstrate them in your application to the examiners. If your workplace does not have an accredited scheme with the Institution of Civil Engineers, talk to someone who is chartered who can do a training course to become your accredited mentor. The process is then exactly the same with uploading your evidence and getting it signed off. Your mentor ends up being both your DE and SCE in this case. But remember, when you're ready to submit your application for chartership, you need 2 sponsors. One of these can be your mentor, but you will need to find someone who is at least chartered to be your other signatory. Having a template for both your IPD and CPD is a good way to organise how you're going to spend your time. It might be worth speaking to your DE or your mentor about setting up a spreadsheet which will enable them to sign you off quickly for each part of each attribute, as they may have a system that works for them better. For your CPD log, having a way of counting how many hours of CPD you've done and having a way of showing how it's distributed between the attributes, for example using an Excel spreadsheet, can be a good way of showing that you have a well-rounded application.
This is my CPD record, which is also known as a personal development record, and I've used this template from somewhere else. But as you can see, I've tried to include a fair amount of detail in each record that I've made. I've referred everything back to a development plan, which you have to make at the same time or consequently with your CPD record, so that your training is in line with the goals you set for yourself. And I set those goals probably every 6 months. At the end is a column about which attribute that references, and at the time when I did my chartership there were 9 attributes, but you can do 7. At the end of each page you can see a total number of hours of CPD for the year, and then on a summary page I created a bar chart to essentially show how well distributed my CPD was, and crucially that I'd done enough health and safety.
This process is about showcasing work that you have done, so if you want to use something as evidence, do make sure it has your initials on it or as an email that you have sent. If you need help with this, try speaking to your manager about becoming responsible for some of the communication as part of your project, so it's very clear that the information is coming from you. Because although you can explain what you've done using text, it's much easier to demonstrate using a drawing or a picture or a diagram, something that you have produced.